Hey everyone, this is our review kind of ran about the current state of the DC movie universe. And we go into a lot of detail. So, warning, all the spoilers. We go into great detail. So you've been warned. No complaining. Enjoy.
So, basically we're going to talk about thoughts on Suicide Squad and the DC universe as a whole. Yes?
I think that's a good... It's a good, introductory thing, isn't it? Especially with Suicide Squad being so new, and the whole...
Yeah.
Is DC going to catch up with Marvel being quite a talkative point?
Well, I think therein that comment lies the biggest problem that the cinematic universe has as a whole. It's trying to catch up to Marvel.
Agreed.
And I think therein is the issue that this cinematic universe they are going to have.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Craig were talking about this after we went and saw it. Marvel have had 8 years. They've had 8 years. Iron Man came out in 2008.
Yeah, it did.
They've had 8 years to get the formula right, and I think by and large they have. Even the worst Marvel film, which in my opinion is Thor 2, is still a decent comic book film. It's not good, it's not great, but I still enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as Thor 1 or the Avengers or any of the other ones, but it's still decent. And Marvel have got their design and their world feel on point. You can go to a Marvel film without knowing any of the characters and have an enjoyable time.
Mm-hmm.
What DC are trying to do is they're trying to play catch up, and they can't. At this point, they can't catch up to Marvel. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, they're trying so hard, bless them. They have the ability to be something amazing. They just need to get the whole idea that Marvel is already established out of their mind and just have fun. Because
DC are a better brand. DC Comic, the DC characters are a better group of characters. They have a stronger IP. They have more interesting characters. Honestly, Marvel Comics I don't enjoy that much. But the films are fantastic because they make them more accessible. DC Comics have always been more accessible. Again, my opinion. But I think DC have much stronger IPs. They have much stronger properties. They have much stronger comics. They have much more interesting comics that they could do. And the characters that they're going with are great. But it's too much. So we may as well start from the beginning. Man of Steel.
Yeah. I thought that was great.
I thought Man of Steel was fantastic in places. I have a real problem with Zack Snyder, which I'll get onto later. But Man of Steel was really good. It really, really captured comic book Superman's strength and power. At no point in that does it feel underpowered and that he's weak. He's knocking over buildings. The final fight in Metropolis, while horrifying in terms of collateral damage, is fairly a representative of Superman's strength, especially when going up against someone like Zod, who is comparatively strong, who is as strong as Superman or stronger. So I think DC get the scale of strength right, and Man of Steel I really enjoyed. I don't like Henry Cavill's. I don't know. He looks the part, and he plays quite a good Clark Kent.
But as a Superman, you're not so sure.
I'm not sold on his Superman because DC are going for this dark, gritty thing, which I actually think is the right move to make. They're going for not super gritty and dark, but they're going for a slightly darker world because Marvel have perfected the art of light-hearted action. They've got that sold, and trying to do the same thing is just going to make everyone go, oh, it's like they're literally just trying to be Marvel, which I think, so it's a smart move to be a bit different tonally. But Superman is not a gritty character.
No.
Superman is supposed to be like a beacon of hope, like always optimism and like, yeah, and everything's great, and he just doesn't. He's too dark, he's too mopey, he's too sad, he's too gritty for Superman. And that's honestly my only real complaint. I don't have the issue that a lot of people seem to have with the Superman film, with Man of Steel, in that it's like, oh, the destruction is like, the destruction made sense from a plot point of view,
and it's fun,
and it's really fun, and also it helps set up Batman v Superman.
Yes, yeah.
It was necessary for that, because I'll get to that later. I'll get to that bit when we do Batman v Superman. But I have no problem with the destruction in that film. I literally have a problem with that Superman is supposed to be a bit more lighthearted and a bit less mopey and sad.
For me, coming from the point of view someone who has, I don't think, ever read a DC comic, at least a major one, and isn't a fan of Superman really, after watching Man of Steel, I had a hell of a fun time. I enjoyed what they were doing with, like, how they were developing the character. Of course, there were, like all movies, there are going to be some points where you're a bit like, that could have been a bit different, perhaps, or something like that. But yeah. I found the kind of the grittiness they were putting him into, and watching him kind of adapt necessarily toward being a good move, I think. And I personally enjoyed it quite a lot.
I can agree with that.
Because I don't like the, Superman, like, I do and I don't. Like, I like it as an idea, like, I like him being that character, but I don't like reading it. Like, this bit, like, he is the icon of hope and things like that, and he's really overpowered. So, like, I can't get into him for that. I do appreciate and like him being that icon from all the way back decades ago, which is why I enjoyed the grittiness and the darkness about that movie, rather than him.
I can understand. As someone who has read quite a lot of DC comics, it didn't feel tonally right. But going in as a novice, I can absolutely see why they've done it, and that it's a smart move. Because, like I said, they've got to differentiate themselves from Marvel. They have to, because otherwise it will just be a case of, oh, they're not as good Marvel films.
Yeah.
They have to differentiate them with Marvel, who are really the only game in town at the moment.
And they had Christopher Nolan's Batman as a good kind of launching point, in a sense, to go toward that darker path, because people really liked them, and it was like, whoa.
We're gonna have to do an episode alone on that. On my view, because spoiler alert, I don't like them very much.
No,
at all.
Oh, okay. We'll save that. We'll save that. That's good.
We can talk about that later or another time.
Yeah.
But essentially, I liked Man of Steel. I thought it had flaws, but I enjoyed it as a comic book fan and as a film. I liked it.
Yeah. I thought it was a very good-looking movie as well.
Oh, like, it looked great. Also, yeah, my only other issue is color. It could have done with a bit more color, which I think is another big problem with the DCCU as a whole. It needs color. It needs to be a bit more vibrant. It needs to be a bit more colorful, because DC's, as I said before, DC's like characters are much more out there compared to Marvel, and they have more colorful characters. So I think they need to utilize that. They need to like show people that.
I can see that.
But that's all I've really got to say on Man of Steel. It's been a while.
It has been a while. I haven't watched it in a long time. Do you want to move to BVS?
Probably should, yeah.
Not the Steel Panther song.
Not the Steel Panther song, no.
The Man of Steel Panther song.
The Man of Steel. Toby. Oh, Toby.
That's staying in. That's staying in.
That's got to stay in. That's great. Okay. Man of Steel. No, not Man of Steel. No, we just done Man of Steel. Batman v Superman. Firstly, I will preface this by saying we'll be talking about the extended edition.
I haven't seen the theatrical edition, so I can't make any.
And that's a bloody good thing.
Yeah, that's from what I heard. Yeah.
So, after seeing the theatrical release and then seeing the extended edition, I cannot understand why DC allowed the theatrical version to be released.
It's sad, isn't it? Like,
I'm fairly certain it was literally because people don't tend to go and see 3-hour films as opposed to 2.5 hours. And that is deeply saddening.
Yeah.
Because the extended edition, or as it should be called, the actual edition, was really good.
It was.
I really liked it. And for reference, after coming out of the theatrical release, if I had to give it a rating, I would give it a 3.
Damn.
Whereas I would give the extended release like an 8.5.
I'd easily put it into an 8. From when I came out of it, I was like, wow, I want more. I want more of this universe. And
that is really sad, because if the version they put out in theaters that was the one that had been put out, I would have been so much more excited about it.
Yeah, it's hopefully like the whole controversy, perhaps not the correct term here, but the whole controversy around the theatrical release and the director's cut being such a huge difference, like in reception. Hopefully, like movie.
I really hope it sends a message.
Yeah, exactly. Like companies are more accepting and allowing them, because people are gonna watch them. There are like us diehard fans who are gonna go watch them.
People who want the franchise, will be happy. It will be happy to go and see a 3-hour film if it's a good 3-hour film.
Mm-hmm.
And that I don't really. If I'm going to cinema, I don't care if I'm there for an extra half an hour. I don't care as long as I've enjoyed the time.
Yeah.
Coming out of the theatrical release, I felt cheated. Damn. I was like, what the hell was that? Because the flaws in it were just massive.
So, like, are there any examples of like striking changes when?
No, and that's the worst thing.
Really?
Yeah. The only massive difference between the theatrical and the extended is the start, where Lois Lane and the person who is supposed to be Jimmy Olsen are in Africa, and there's about, I want to say, 5 minutes of just footage there that was just not in it. But after that, it's literally 30 seconds to 2 minutes in most scenes. Not most scenes, but a lot of scenes where they've gone, where they just added a few lines or a few scenes just to give everyone a bit more reference.
Damn.
Because in the theatrical release, you really didn't know why Batman and Superman were fighting, other than Batman gave a vague thing about, there's a chance he might go evil and therefore I must murder him. And Superman's like, you've got my mum, Lex Luthor, so I'll do what you say. And for those two characters, those are flimsy fucking excuses.
Even watching the extended one, I was a bit like that.
Superman would not be like that, and Batman would be a lot more logical than that.
And
so those were Those are my real issues with it with that bit.
You like even describing Batman as logical then brings me up to a point that really kind of took me out of it, which is kind of sad. Like where they're fighting and Batman's like they're in the ruined, abandoned building.
Are you talking about Martha?
Yeah. Like Batman has got the upper hand. He's about to absolutely finish Superman off, and just that one trigger word of Superman going Martha just breaks him.
I'll get to that when I do like my issues with the film still.
Yeah.
That's alright.
For me, it's a bit of a double-edged sword though, and I'll bring that up again once we get back to that point.
Yeah. But like it's literally 30 seconds because in the extended edition it turns out that Lex Luthor's been paying to have people branded by the Bat killed in prison, which leads to and obviously because Lex Luthor apparently knows who is who, knows that they are both who they are.
Yeah,
that makes more sense because he figures like he leaks it to Clark Kent, which means he leaks it to Superman, which means Superman goes, "Oh, this person's actions are getting people killed when they didn't need to be. That's not very good. I'm going to stop that." And I've fucking forgotten why my Batman wants to fight him.
It was basically.
It was Lex Luthor again doing something.
A lot of it was, for instance, you see it in the trailer, like the aftermath of Man of Steel, and like this guy's a threat, and him coming into collision with the Wayne Corp building, and the guy Bruce actually rescues a person with his legs trapped is used as a kind of martyr by Lex Luthor.
That's right.
Yeah. Which I thought was quite cool.
I got a bit mixed up there. But yeah, it gives me reference why they're fighting, which was one of my biggest complaints about the theatrical release. I wasn't convinced that they would be fighting. And the extended edition fixed that.
Yeah. I
thought Batman was Ben Affleck, who I thought would be garbage after Daredevil. He was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely stellar. Not a single complaint about that.
No complaints from me.
No complaints about how he played the character.
Yeah.
I'll get onto my issues later on. But he is a really good Batman, and he's a good Bruce Wayne. Which is important, because when you're playing Batman, you're also playing Bruce Wayne. So you've got to be good as both. Which I thought he really, really, really was. Wonder Woman looked fantastic.
Wonder Woman, she was fantastic.
I was not excited about a Wonder Woman solo film, I've got to admit. It's not sexist, it's not a thing. I just don't really care about the character very much, and I never have.
Fair enough.
In the Justice League comics, it's always been like, and now for a bit with Wonder Woman. I'm like, oh, better get through this then to get something cool. Flash or Batman or Green Lantern, that'll be great. Like fucking Wonder Woman bit. And I was like, okay, we'll get through that bit. And that's but wow, she was brilliant. She was really good. I was a bit worried that she wouldn't look the part, but she absolutely did. And I couldn't be happier.
I remember the initial released imagery to do with her, like the first donning of her armor and her shield and sword and stuff. And some of the first things I saw about it were she's very brown. There's not a lot of color there, but in the moment, in the setting during the actual fighting, I thought it looked pretty damn good. Even with you could still make out the color. I thought it was on perfect, and how she played it, how she delivered it was
spot on.
Great. And again, I know fuck all about Wonder Woman, and I want to know more.
It really got across that she is a warrior, not just not just the token girl.
Yeah.
And she held her own, and she was fantastic, and I really enjoyed that. And I think that I really enjoyed the film as a whole. Now, my issues, of which there are several, and despite the fact that I thoroughly enjoyed the film, the issues are very, very bad. Number one, and the one I find most important, Jesse Eisenberg is not a good Lex Luthor.
They joke at him, I think.
Lex Luthor is like one of the smartest people in DC Comics. He becomes president in loads of comics.
Doesn't he do that in Red Superman? Something like that?
Superman Red Sun. He becomes president of the USA. In loads of comics, he's president of the USA. Like, Lex Luthor is a man who commands power. He makes Superman I don't know what the right word is but Superman
in his boots.
Yeah. Like, no one fucks with Lex Luthor. When you're in a room with Lex Luthor has the power.
He stopped Superman in Red Sun with 10 words.
Yeah. Lex Luthor has so much control. He is you're never meant to feel that if you're in a room with Lex Luthor that you have control of the situation, because Lex Luthor is on it. Lex Luthor knows what you're going to do before you're going to do it. And Jesse Eisenberg didn't. Lex Luthor would not stammer at a speech. Lex Luthor would not get nervous. Lex Luthor would not have weird hand twitches. I really, really don't like that casting, which is annoying because I thought they were on DC are really good with it. They are on point with their casting. I don't think there's been an actual bad, straight up bad casting decision, except for Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. He's not right. I'm really hoping, because of the number of mentions of his father in the film, that it turns out, he was Alexander Luthor Jr., and we're going to get a good person in to be Lex Luthor, like Bryan Cranston.
As good as that would be, I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, that's my dream. That's my dream scenario. It won't happen, and it saddens me deeply that it won't. But I really wish that they would just do that, because he's not Lex Luthor. He could
have been a good Luthor. It's just it was written for him to be too sort of
zany and wacky and eccentric, which isn't Lex Luthor. That's not the character of Luthor. And that is my only real casting issue with the entire DCCU so far.
If you were to take away the name Lex Luthor from that character, it'd be pretty good. But it's not how I would depict Lex Luthor. Acting is great. That character is great, but it's not Lex Luthor.
No, it's literally all the problem. If it was a new villain, or a different villain with different agenda or something, but with the same acting, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Yeah. But he's not Lex Luthor. He's just not. That's not issue number one I have. Issue number two is Murdery Batman.
Yes! He crushed someone with the Batmobile!
He crushes several people with the Batmobile. He throws a grenade into a room full of guys.
Yep.
Well, room of two guys. That's not Batman. Batman.
That's not Batman.
Even people who don't know a lot about Batman, what's Batman's number one rule? Right, he doesn't murder the shit out of people. And this Batman, he murders the shit out of a lot of people.
I remember when I was watching it, I was thinking, I'm sure they're okay. I'm pretty sure he didn't kill them. And then he blows up a truck.
Yeah.
Okay, they're probably not so okay.
Yeah. He just murders the shit out of I think Mr. Sunday Movies did
the kill count?
A kill count video,
yeah.
And it's something like 21.
Bloody hell!
And those were people that he just straight up killed. Not even ones that you could argue maybe they survived and just are injured. No, he straight up kills 21 people. Now, if you ask anyone, what's Batman's rule number one? Doesn't murder people.
Yeah.
However, Batman's actual combat and fighting style, spot on. It literally, it felt like I was watching an Arkham game, the Arkham series of games.
That's a good description.
It's it's flowing, it's hard hitting. It's not just spoilers. That's the reason I don't like the Dark Knight trilogy. He doesn't fight like Batman. Batman is a master of every martial art there is, and some that he makes up himself, some that are secret and that only like the League of Assassins and shit know, like stuff that no other human being knows. So Batman is like, he's supposed to be a fast fighter. He's supposed to be fast and heavy hitting and flowing and really like fancy fighting moves. He's not just supposed to punch people with the right hook.
Right hook, elbow twist, right hook.
That's
punch.
Spiky arms, compromise your footing. I see water.
What Craig described there is literally how Christopher Nolan's Batman fights.
Yeah.
Whereas this Batman fights spot on. Like every move flows into the next move. He takes out like in the bit in the warehouse. He takes out like
that's a good scene.
Like 10 or 11 guys before he even hits the ground. He uses the environment, which is something that is really like very Batman-y. Like he's throwing people into it, like he's throwing stuff at people. Like that's very Batman-y fighting.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Something I also thought complemented that was the actual being able to see him in the rafters at certain points, you know?
Yeah.
Like him getting control of his adversaries with his little mind games. Like he was saying in the warehouse. He opens up by crashing through the floor and zipping up into the ceiling without anyone noticing him. And you
while
see
disabling everyone in the room's guns.
Yeah.
Before they even know what's going on.
Yeah, you see him sat up there, disabling them. I'm like, it's good to show that level of detail, and I think they went whole hog when it came to the detail, which I appreciated a lot.
Yeah. See, I like Batman. I really enjoyed this Batman's fighting style. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. Just the killing.
just I could have done without the killing, and also relating to that sort of the whole Flash future dream thing.
What the fuck was that?
I understood its place, I still maintain that it was jarring.
I need more explanation. Literally, unless you read the comics and know the Flash, you have no idea what the hell just happened then. Who is this guy? What's happening?
I think I'm an example of the perfect audience, in a sense.
Because you don't have the background knowledge that we do. You're going in blind.
But I have that little bit to understand. So it's like, I knew what Flash was doing, but I had no idea what setting I was seeing. Meaning, when I saw it, I wanted more. And I want to see more.
But it needed explaining, or it needed framing better, because it was... I like the Flash, and I've read lots of Flash comics where time travel and alternate dimensions are a thing. And even I found it like, so it's a vision, or is it a view of what will happen? Or
well, essentially what I believe happened was that when Flash came from the future, which happens when they don't form the Justice League, and Darkseid comes down and fucks shit up. And essentially the dream sequence bit was because he was coming into the timeline so close to sleeping Bruce Wayne, he got a glimpse into that time where into the future where the Flash came from. Yeah,
see, that's what I thought as well. But the fact that we aren't sure of it means that there's probably something gone wrong in the filming. If there is if you can't go, well, this is what happened, if you have to preface it with, well, here's what I think happened.
I also kind of like that, though, purely as someone who can enjoys theorizing things and having that level of unknown. So
I love theorizing things, and I love discussing trailers and oh, what do you think is going to happen? But that one's left me going, I sort of get it, but it's not made very explicit, and I can see why people would like that, but I'm not a fan.
You think you needed a little bit more?
It needed just a little bit of framing, or a bit of lead up, or just something to make it a bit clearer to people what's actually happening.
Okay, I can see that.
Again, that might just be me, but I thought it could have done with a little bit of here's what's going on. Not outright explaining it or giving some exposition, because I think that's lazy. But there are ways you could have done that where it would be a bit easier to get what's going on.
Speaking of the Flash, what did you guys make? Like, what did you think about his costume?
I think it's not his final costume.
Right.
I think it's I've been doing this on my own for a while, and I've salvaged what parts I can to make a suit that I can use. But it doesn't look like a final suit, especially seeing as there are suits on like the rack behind him in the Justice League trailer. So I don't think it's the final suit, and I think that the final suit will be, or the next suit will be one that Batman makes.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think Batman, because that's the thing, because Batman has helped make suits in the past. I think that Batman will like help him design and make a permanent suit, which I think will be a really good move.
Want to buy live action Hellbat suit?
Oh my god.
That won't happen.
No.
Oh come on! It's not overpowered.
It's so cool though.
Yeah, but yeah, that was my only real problem with it.
Okay.
I think that, yeah.
What did you make of Doomsday?
Oh, that's my last one. DC, and this is as a DC thing as a whole. We talked about this when we came out the other night as well. DC are really fucking up on the trailer front.
Yes, agreed.
And that we'll get more onto that in Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah.
But as a whole, they are really fucking up with trailers, and I love trailers. Craig does not like trailers. We've discussed this at length. But I love trailers, and I like watching trailers, and I like seeing like, oh, what do you think this means? And like, I watch videos on people who've like gone through it, and like, well, here's what this might mean, and here's what this might mean. And I'm like, that's awesome.
That's exactly what I do. I
love doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't love it when I feel like I could just wait for the film. I like a trailer that gets me amped up and makes me go, holy shit, I need to go see the film because I need to know what it all means. I don't like when a trailer gives away like major plot points and makes me go, I think I've pretty much got the feel of the film.
Yeah, I don't know if I need to see the movie now.
Well, I'll see it, but I mean, there's no urgency.
Yeah.
When a Marvel film, they give you like little teasers. They give you like, oh, here's a little bit. Oh, I'm taking it away. It's like giving you a bit of food. Like, oh no, you can't have it. And at the end, as the film's about to come out, I'm like, fucking hell, I need it. I'm counting down the days. But with Batman v Superman, looking back, it was like they sort of gave away all the big bits.
Yeah.
Like we were saying,
blew their load.
Like Craig said, if they hadn't revealed Doomsday, that would have been amazing to see live. Like, but revealing Doomsday in like the second trailer, was sad.
I think DC as a whole are blowing their load. I mean, they're going for these big compilation films far too early. They should build up the characters first. And secondly, the death of Superman. No, don't do that in the second film that he's in. We don't give a shit about him enough to use that. That's supposed to be a huge, powerful moment.
Like Superman dies to save people, but that only has meaning when you care about the characters. Mm-hmm. And you don't care about Superman after a film and a half. I'm not even say 2 films, because he's barely in Batman v Superman, even in the Ultimate Edition. He doesn't have many lines.
It's a Batman and Lex Luthor movie.
It is, and Superman's there as a plot point rather than the main character. He never feels like he is integral to the movie.
Yeah, I think like
other than you need him to fight Doomsday
in like whatever studio or boardroom doing, right, what can we do to get the people watching? Everyone loves Batman, and they know that we're gonna do a Justice League movie, so we really need to push heavy on the Batman. Yeah, but it's got Superman in it. How am I meant to? Well, let's put the biggest, baddest guy he's gone up against, or one of. You know, the guy who kills him, and let's do that.
Yeah, the problem is that Superman is so powerful. You need to have villains who can like be a viable threat. And so I sort of get it. I think that I don't have a problem with them putting Doomsday in. I have a problem with them revealing that Doomsday is like the villain in a trailer.
Also, Death of Superman should have been like, say, End of Justice League Part 1 or some shit like that. Or like
they
the
help.
second Justice League film.
Superman helps defeat the big bad, but he dies in doing it. Would be a much more poignant moment than he dies, and then within like 10 minutes, it's like, lol, he's not dead. He's fine. He's fine. Look, the dust come off the coffin.
They could have potentially done it. You know when they nuke him, like he's taking him Doomsday up into space, and they nuke him, and then you get the position of him like his skin like being held tight around his skeleton and things. Like, and really corpse-like look.
He looks like a corpse.
They could have had it there, where he's like, okay, they think I'm dead. Throughout this entire movie, there have been so many times where I've been chastised for what I do. There are so many people who don't like me. Maybe if I go into hiding and still do what I do best, but in secret, I can do what I want and I can give what the people want. And he goes into hiding, and that's how he disappears.
The problem is, to do that, they would have had to kill Doomsday.
Yeah, Doomsday wasn't dead yet.
Yeah.
Doomsday wasn't dead yet, and Superman wouldn't leave Doomsday rolling around.
And Batman and Wonder Woman can't take on Doomsday.
No. I mean, Wonder Woman's good. She could probably hold him off for a bit, but she probably... Unless she got the spear and Batman distracted her and they did something like that, maybe.
But Batman for Batman to distract her for any length of time, it would be a little bit implausible. Because while you can go, it's Batman. Lol, Batman is powerful, lol. You can make that stupid fucking argument. But Batman would be annihilated by Doomsday, especially when he's had no time to prepare.
Well, Wonder Woman distract him for 10 minutes, then you have Batman with prep time.
The Batman with prep time, that's an entirely different thing. But Batman didn't have prep time. Batman went from, I'm fighting Superman, to, oh shit, what the fuck's this thing? Oh god, oh god, oh god.
In fairness, he did have prep time for fighting Superman, and we saw what happened then.
And we saw what happened then, again. But that's fine. But the point is, he didn't have prep time for Doomsday. And so that's a situation where like they held each other wouldn't work if he didn't have the prep time. Yeah, I think the big problem DC have got as a whole is that their trailers are way too much.
They're clutching at straws to get people to watch, which is in itself a downside.
They really don't need to.
No, they don't.
I thought the Justice League trailer was good, and I don't think that spoiled too much anything, especially because I sort of figured out that stuff, what happened in the trailer was probably going to happen anyway. So, but I'm fairly wary about watching any more now. Because as much as I like trailers and I like stuff, I don't want to ruin it.
I think that's a good Batman v Superman talk. You know, just a sum up. We'd both give it 8s.
I'd both give it. I'd give it an 8. I might even give it an 8.5.
Yeah.
The things that I had problems with the actual film, as opposed to the trailer, they were there, but they weren't big enough to stop me enjoying it as like the theatrical release did. I walked out of that theatrical release angry.
I thought it was a very good, fun representation of what might happen in the real world if there were a Superman and a Batman. You know, like that political side of things was pretty good. The music, the cinematography, the fighting, the designing, everything was spot on. I
walked out of the theatrical release angry. We finished watching the extended edition, and I had a stupid grin on my face because the film was good.
There you go.
And it really bothers me that films, like producers and companies, whatever, would put out films that are significantly less good for the sake of half an hour.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation in itself, isn't it? Yeah,
that's odd. But yeah, I think that's enough said about Suicide Squad, I'd say.
Well, let's go on to Suicide Squad.
On to Suicide Squad.
Oh my god, that was not a good movie.
Okay, I'm gonna say my piece. After watching the trailers for it, I didn't think that they gave too much away until I saw the film. I'll get to that later. I was expecting a colourful, funny, a bit more light-hearted film. And while there were definitely moments of that, it wasn't what I was expecting. That's my first problem. Number 2, there were too many characters. I get that the Suicide Squad is an ensemble comic. It's an ensemble cast. It's a lot of different characters pushed together for plot reasons, and that's cool. But there were too many, and there were several that didn't matter.
Agreed.
Well, there's too many controlling actors. Like, you have, say, Margaret
Jared
Robbie.
Leto, Margot Robbie, Cara Delevingne,
Will Smith.
Like, those 4 alone are like A-list actors, and then you've got guys like Jai Courtney and the chick who plays Amanda Waller, who are both like decent actors. So it's like they weren't necessary. But the ones who I felt were least necessary were Katana and Killer Croc.
Captain Boomerang and the guy who
He was
climbs
one
up
of the best
things.
parts
I
of
don't
that
even
film.
remember his name.
Well, Slipknot didn't matter because Slipknot was in every Suicide Squad comic, cartoon, any appearance, there's always that one who decides, fuck you guys, lol, I'm going home, and then gets blown up as a demonstration. And the moment I saw that Slipknot was in the film, I was like, well, he's going to be the token detonated face. So he didn't matter. Boomerang was one of the only bits that I actually liked. Really liked. Because as much as he's just a guy who throws boomerangs, he was funny. And he got the character of he got the character quite well. Like, Boomerang is a loutish, thuggish, drunken idiot.
Pretty sure he only threw 3 boomerangs in the whole film.
He killed a load of things with boomerangs in his hands. So I was alright. But Katana didn't do much. She wasn't really needed.
She didn't do anything.
The only thing she contributed to the film was that she was present so that Harley could take the heart of the monster at the end. But that could have easily have been done with a boomerang or a well-placed bullet, or Diablo or whatever. It doesn't matter. They could have gotten around it. Katana was useless. Killer Croc, while I quite liked how he looked, I thought he was cool, wasn't quite big enough. Killer Croc's meant to be 10 feet fucking tall.
Yeah.
And built like a shit house. But the other problem,
Bjornsson for Killer Croc.
But he also didn't really contribute much to the film. So I could have got rid of him. I did enjoy the Joker. I thought he did quite a good job. But I don't think he was totally Jokery enough.
I did not like the Joker at all.
I really liked the Joker I like that they've decided to go with the DC Cinematic Universe's Joker as an actual just psychopath. Because if I've said this to Craig a few times, but I'll say it again. Every Joker who has been on screen has been a different shade of Joker. In the Batman 66, the terrible campy Adam West one. The Joker in that is the zany, prankstery, buzzer hand,
squirting flour,
flour acid, weird Joker. Jack Nicholson's Joker in the Batman 88 90s films he's the gangster, which they sort of did again with Leto, but not as much. The one from the Jack Nicholson Joker is an outright gang person. Heath Ledger's Joker, who is the only thing about this, that's the second Batman film, second Christopher Nolan Batman film that I liked, is the anarchist. Literally, he wants to watch, to quote Michael Caine, he wants to watch the world burn.
Yeah,
and I thought that was cool.
One
this
of his
Joker
lines.
This Joker is the insane Joker, the unhinged, deranged, can literally change on a pinhead Joker, which I think is cool. the utterly insane Joker is a cool Joker to go with. And they also got a bit of the gang Joker in there. But I don't think he was quite Jokery enough. Especially when it comes to his and Harley Quinn's relationship.
Right.
Like, the fact that Joker jumped in after Harley in that vat, the fact that Joker came all the way across country like twice for Harley, isn't Joker. The whole point of the Harley Quinn Joker relationship is Harley loves Joker, but Joker uses Harley, but is indifferent otherwise.
That feeds to a point that I'm going to bring up later about the movie as a whole. But for me, I didn't get any of that from the Joker. I felt like the Joker seemed, in a sense, quite dumb. Like, I didn't get a level of like calculating and like intelligence hidden behind the Joker that I'd like to see in him. I just thought it was a lot of like, I don't know, like a lot of the times you'd see like a hired goon, you know, like coming up with, okay, boss, we can do this. We can go and get this guy, and we can go and get them to sort out the chips in their necks, rather than actually the Joker being like, or any hint toward the Joker having that idea in the first place. And
see, I can sort of see where you're coming from, but at the same time, Joker wasn't. This wasn't a Joker film. Joker was in it.
They pushed it so hard to be.
They did, because I don't think that they knew what they were pushing. Because I have a feeling they were trying to avoid giving away the bad guy after the Batman v Superman like fuck up.
Yeah.
So they didn't outright say that it's Enchantress. I mean, you could probably like figure it, but I gotta admit, I didn't. I thought it might be, but I didn't go, oh, the villain's Enchantress. Because there were lots of rumors online that Joker's going to be the villain, and then there was a trailer which had like weird like magic stuff. So I was like, maybe it's Tattooed Man, because the guy that Joker shoots in the club, everyone was like, he's Tattooed Man, who has like similar powers to Green Lantern, except that the only things that he can create are like magical tattoos of things that are tattooed on him.
Wait, that's his name. His name's Tattooed Man.
Yeah.
I thought that was just like a nickname people had come up with to describe the character because they didn't have a name for him yet. Oh my god,
no,
that's adorable.
He's a Green Lantern villain. He manifests the things that are tattooed on himself. So if he had like a fighter jet tattooed on him, he'd like magically like send out a fighter jet.
That's cool.
Which I thought was cool. And everyone was like, oh, maybe it's him, because that would sort of fit with the magic. You could sort of do stuff with that. So I thought there was a chance it would be that. There was other stuff it could be, as well as potentially being Enchantress, which obviously it ended up being. So I think they might have tried to avoid giving away the villain after Batman v Superman. But I think they pushed Joker to get people in, because look, Jared Leto, and look, Joker, look, please look, come see our film. Because it's not a massive IP as Suicide Squad.
No.
It's never been like a big. It's not Batman. It's not Justice League. It's not even like some of them, not well-known members, but like the less well-known members like Flash and Green Lantern and Cyborg, who unless you are a comic fan, you probably won't know much about them. So I thought they pushed Joker to try get people in.
Yeah.
But after watching the film, it's not a film about the Joker. The Joker is there to give Harley characterization, which brings me on to my probably biggest complaint about the film, is that there were so many cast members and so many characters that we were supposed to care about, and I just didn't, because the characterization that the ones that were given characterization had felt shallow and token. You're supposed to. I think they were trying to get people to care about Will Smith, and like, look, he loves his daughter, but he's also an assassin. But he loves his daughter, and he's not. And at the end, he does things out of his own will rather than for money, because he's changed and is a good man. And
he's a good man that still kills people.
I just didn't care. I didn't fucking care about Will Smith. He's like, I didn't care about any of them except for arguably Harley and El Diablo.
Oh, Diablo, yeah.
And El Diablo, it wasn't because of his backstory bit, which was sad, but it was because like the way he went out and the fact that he was always like holding back, and that he was always like trying to.
Like, this
not
ain't my
be a
fight,
bad
Holmes.
person.
This ain't my fight, Etsy. I mean, I'm like he would stand back for the first few things anyway, and they used Deadshot to bring it out of him, and then from that point on,
cool. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But Harley and him were the only ones that I cared about at the end. Like in the end, they were the only two that I actually was bothered, like how they turned out. I was kind of gutted they didn't give Boomerang more story. Same with Killer Croc. I might have liked more if they'd given him more backstory.
Yeah.
But they did. And all of the backstory were given, and all the you're supposed to like these guys. I just didn't care.
And I think
because they didn't do a good enough job of getting me to care.
That's the main issue I have with the movie as a whole. I think it had a BVS problem where it felt like scenes weren't scenes but clips. There was always something that could have been attached onto it just to help build it up a bit more. That or like the focus was.
I don't know if there's going to be a extended edition.
I hope there is, because that could save the movie for me. Otherwise, then the focus for me felt too spread thin between so many things. Like my original complaint with I've already forgotten his name again. The guy who zips around and like climbs things.
Slipknot.
Yes, and Captain Boomerang. For me, I felt if you just took them out of the movie, I'd be completely unaffected. I'd come away with they didn't, for me, provide a lot. Captain Boomerang more so, because he actually had a few funny moments, like with Pinky, his little unicorn thing, and stuff like that.
I thought that stuff was actually really well done.
Yeah, he was depicted very well. I liked the character.
I wish they'd given him more.
Exactly.
And gotten rid of Katana or Killer Croc, or both. Because they really didn't add anything to the film.
Yeah.
But
well, in fairness, they could have been there. They just didn't want to try and have, like, say, 8 main characters.
Then why put those characters in if they're not going? I would rather they'd had 6 characters who were given proper characterization than 8, but only really focus on like 5.
Agreed.
That's like saying, like, what was the point in all of the other soldiers in the D-Day landing to Saving Private Ryan? Like, you need the extra characters in there to.
Yeah, but that's a ridiculous comparison.
You need,
because that's a swarm of people. Like, these are supposed to be like the last 8 people who are going to save the world, but 2 of them are sort of just there. Like, it's not like they're an army. If it was an army, I'd totally see the validation. Like, you can't give every member of an army characterization because that would be ridiculous. But if these are the characters that they are pushing that we are supposed to care about, make us care about them. Don't just put them there for set pieces and then give them like 1 or 2 lines here and there, but not do anything.
See, my point is, though, that it should be that they should, have, like, 2 main characters, say, like, just Harley and Deadshot as, like, the main characters, and the rest of them are there to sort of improve, like, move the story along. Or, alternatively, you have them have standalone movies so that they can be fleshed out before, so you know you're going into this with already built characters.
But I don't think any of the characters in it are big enough to merit a solo film.
No.
Well, you could have, like, Captain Boomerang as part of the Rogues in a Flash film first, or you could have, like, say, Batman in a Joker and Harley film. You can fit them in as villains in a film with a superhero before, because this would also bring out the problem of fleshing out, say, Flash and Batman and Superman a little bit more before the big Justice League film. You can't try and flesh out 8 new characters in one film.
Which is why I'm saying they should have just gotten rid of some.
But the problem with that is then it sort of then just becomes it's no longer a squad. It's just the Suicide 3 people.
Well, no, I'm not saying get rid of like all of them. Like literally get rid of Katana and Killer Croc. That's all. If you'd have got rid of them and given the others a bit more to do, I would have had less problem with it.
It also needed to be funnier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
I was expecting more laughs. I was expecting it to be Guardians of the Galaxy-esque. With, like, one-liners and jokes and wisecracks and sarcasm. But there wasn't. There was less than in the trailers. Because there were scenes that were in the trailer. There's a scene in the trailer where it's in the bar scene. And
Yeah.
there's like, what do you have in? I'll have a whiskey. It's like, what is this? A child size? And the Killer Croc's like, I'll have a beer. And then El Diablo's like, I'll have a water. And Harley's like, good call. And that was cut. That wasn't in the film.
That's what gives me hope for an extended edition. Because there are examples.
I literally just Googled it. There isn't going to be one.
No!
so it went into reshoots to make it less funny because it wasn't dark and gritty enough.
If that's the case, I'm so sad.
Also, the fact that it was like, no shit, fuck. Oh, I was saying like I was hoping it would be more colourful. The final fight was so foggy and misty and rainy that you couldn't see who was who a lot of the time.
It wasn't dark brown though. It was dark, foggy blue.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like they advertised it with like neon and crap. But all you ended up getting was a misty fog.
They even did that, like, in the introduction of characters or in the credits. Yeah. They had all this colour and all these, like, wacky, like, logos and things. And then just nothing else. Just dark mood lighting.
Yeah. And that bothered me. Because if DC were going to do a film of colour, with colour and bright and like, yeah, fuck yes, neon and shit, it's this film. This is the film to do that with.
Yep,
because the characters would fit it, and the tone could have fitted it if they'd have made it funnier.
I wanted a crazy, silly, LSD-coloured, like, fueled masterpiece.
Yes. That's what I wanted, and that's not what we got.
And that's what the trailer, or at least the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer, had me believing it was going to be.
Yep. Well, the Ballroom Blitz trailer had me sold, because I was like, that's a great song, and that's a cool, like, yeah, it'd be good, it'd be light, it'd be funny, it'd be awesome, cool, totally on board. There
was a part of the movie that, like, kind of summed up, in a sense for me, what it was trying to be, and it's when they had Spirit in the Sky during that helicopter ride. I'm like, this is how close you want to be to Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the closest you're gonna get.
Yeah, I thought it was sad.
I'm sad.
I'm gonna go on a little moment here. I think that they got the film plot. I thought they could have had a much more interesting plot.
I can see
and I'll explain on that in one moment.
Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Yeah.
It's I was talking about it after I came out of it with a friend over Facebook, and one of my summaries of it was, I felt like it had the Batman v Superman problem, whereas in this case, 1/3 of it was cut. The 2/3 of it, the 1/3 that was cut was the DC fun part, and the 2/3 that were left were Will Smith. Because Harley, she's meant to be funny and she wasn't.
Well, she's supposed to be funny, but also a bit tragic, but they just got the tragic.
They try, the overall whiff I get from this movie is trying too hard.
I think that making Enchantress was the villain I've had time to think about this now. Making Enchantress the villain was a really bad move. Because again, why do I care?
Nobody
Why
knows.
do I give a shit? Well, they should have made the villain of this film Batman.
Whoa.
They should have made the villain of Suicide Squad Batman.
Why would you send the villains after Batman?
Because they should have shown how if by making Batman the villain, he's not actually the villain, but he's the villain of them. It's showing how the bad guys perceive Batman.
I did that a bit at the start in their intro with catching them.
And they were good. And that was good. And if they'd have carried on with that, they could have made a whole film out of them like doing something or being sent on odd jobs while Batman is after them, while Batman is hunting them.
That's so sad for this movie. Like, your summary is, I went into it wanting a Suicide Squad movie, and I came out wanting a Batman movie.
No, it doesn't. It wouldn't be a Batman movie. Like, you could not see Batman for vast sections of the thing, but
Alien Isolation, where he's just hunting him from the shadows.
you see him, and like, if you're not gonna give the characters like a lot of characterization, I would have gone maybe the other way, put in a few more people, and have Batman take them out. So like, they're being sent, like, don't have like one big like mission. Have Amanda Waller send them out on missions to do stuff that like the government isn't allowed to do, or that they want undercover.
Brains.
And then you show Batman hunting them as though he is how the villains would perceive Batman. Because to villains, Batman is the enemy. Because like they're supposed to be looking over their shoulder because shit, is the Bat gonna be there? And I would have thought that would have been a cool fucking movie to see how they see Batman, like the bit with Deadshot.
They already tried that with the second. They already tried that with the second Christopher Nolan film, where we were supposed to see Joker, how the bad guys see the Batman. There's just this mysterious figure seems to have unlimited funds, has come out of nowhere and is causing mayhem in their world. That the idea of that was that we see the Joker like they see Batman. So yeah. I don't know if they were trying to sort of not repeat that.
But I think that would have been way more cool.
They tried it though, because when the Enchantress was showing them things they wanted, like their desires, Deadshot's was him killing Batman. And the whole like reason I was spasming and going, "Oh God, brain thoughts" just now, is because as you were explaining it, I was like, it's a really interesting idea, but I don't know how they do it and still have the ending with Amanda Wallace and Bruce Wayne. But then I went like brain explosion juice. That's a thing now. That just worked, and they could have it where it was kind of a setup from Amanda Wallace the entire time. So like there was a threat. It not necessarily Enchantress, but there was something, and it wasn't as major as Amanda had made it out to be, but enough for them to get the squad going and whatever. But because because Amanda knew Bruce is Batman, she could be like, hey Batman, let me slip you some details about these weird meta-humans. Why is she Jamaican? And then she could be using Batman to kill them, and that's how you get the villain seeing Batman as the real villain.
But you don't have him kill them because they need to not. No more murdery Batman.
No more murdery Batman.
I'm going to go meta here.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you do have Batman as the villain of the film, and they're trying to catch him so that he can be brought to justice for all the murders he did in Batman v
Mind blown. There, Hollywood, get us right now, and we will make you $1 million.
Alternatively, you have it to get so that Amanda Waller can know who Batman is.
Oh.
So that she can then have him under her thumb as well. Because Amanda Waller likes having control.
She's that kind of character, isn't she? Like the mastermind behind it all, kind of.
She's a puppet. She's literally a puppet master.
There you go, yeah.
And to get Batman maybe in her pocket, she uses the squad as bait to lure him out. Or just something, you know? Because all of this would make better films. After they've got the Batman, right, but all of those murders in the previous film, okay, she gets him under her thumb but tells him to stop killing people. And that's where Batman's no-killing rule comes in, because otherwise Amanda Waller will blow up his head.
See, my God.
Batman wouldn't have that.
No.
See, I'm of the belief that the Batman we know, Batman only started killing after whatever happened to Robin, which I'm hoping is elaborated on in the Batman solo film. But they could have linked them together, because that's the thing that Marvel have really well. None of their films, except for like the actual Avengers films and stuff, are straight up like, and sort of Civil War. But like they're not all ensemble films, but they reference each other. even if it's like throwaway references, they reference each other. So Suicide Squad could have done, like, by making Batman a villain, they could have linked it all together. Like, we know you killed, like, maybe the people don't know that you killed a lot of people, but we know you killed a lot of people.
They know about the like the branding though in BVS.
True, but again, these are we're not film writers. These are nitpicky details that people much better paid than us could fix. But making Batman the villain of the film would have been and it would have been more ballsy. That would have been a ballsy fucking move by the filmmakers to go, right, we're going to make Batman the villain, and he's going to be like the overarching threat of this film. Like, you can have whatever other issues like Amanda Waller uses to get them out in the field, but you have Batman be the threat, and you have them see Batman, a lot like those cops do in Batman v Superman, like where he's like in the corner, or where he's appearing out of the fucking floors or the ceiling, like inflicting colossal damage before you even know he's there. And it would also make the villains and like the people in it appear more like a legit thing if they are able to not beat Batman, but like hold their own against Batman.
Yeah.
Like, but they all had like a cool moment. But like having the squad be able to hold their own against Batman, especially this Batman who is tough, would have been cool.
It would give them the presence they were lacking.
Yeah, I just think that Enchantress wasn't a particularly good villain.
Hmm.
And I didn't really care about her relationship with Rick Flag. I didn't care about Rick Flag.
How would you sum it up?
It was okay, but it wasn't anything special, and it could have been more.
Craig?
It was disappointing as fuck. It should have been a colourful, crazy, fun adventure, not another slightly gritty, dark thing that DC seemed to be obsessed about.
Critically, it wasn't awful. As a comic fan, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who loves the characters and loves the comics and loves the DC world, it's really sad to see that they could screw up something that they could have done really, really cool shit with.
Yeah. It was too much butter spread... Oh, not enough butter spread over too much toast, where that butter is Will Smith.
Don't want to spread Will Smith on your toast, then?
I mean, don't you?
Well, he is smooth.
Just as smooth as that joke. I think that's the highlight we gotta end it on, right? That's our peak.
End it on a buttery Will Smith.
On his back. What? Sorry, bye!
Bye.
Bye.